Hello, I'm Graham Fitch and I'm bringing you this video demonstration on hands separately from Steinway Hall in London. You'll notice that I'm in a different room from usual and I have the great Paderewski staring down at me, so I better make sure I do a good job here. There is a debate among piano teachers, piano pedagogues, whether practicing hands separately, whether we learn something hands separately, or whether we always play hands together from the beginning of learning something new. I don't want to enter into the debate particularly because what you'll notice is that one authority will say one thing and another authority will say another thing, which only proves one thing, that there can't be a definitive answer. Now, I happen to be a great believer in hands separately practice. I'm going to show you how I would use it. And I think I'm in fairly good company. Liszt apparently believed in it very, very much, advocated it. So I think Liszt, we can certainly take a leaf out of his book. I think there is a middle ground here, and I'm going to, with my first demonstration, show you how that could work with the Rachmaninoff C-sharp minor prelude, which comes up a lot in my demonstrations. I know it's because people often ask for it, and it's a very popular piece. And I'm going to take the middle section, and I'm going to assume now that I'm learning it from scratch. And I can play my left hand, which is easy enough. Let me play your hands together just a little bit. Very famous central section marked agitato. The right hand's actually got quite a lot going on. It's got a melody line on the top, which I would want to extract and play that just by itself first, before I even got involved in the shenanigans underneath, the triplets underneath. But what I discover I can do is to put together my right hand top line with my left hand, so I can now make a kind of deconstruction. What you'll notice I'm doing there is I'm going for sound. In other words, I'm aiming for the sound that I want in the end. I'm aiming for the dynamic level, the pedaling, the colors, the mood, everything. So I'm not mechanically practicing like just without thinking, without listening. I'm very intent on the sound picture that I want. Now, at the same time, I would recommend practicing the right hand in a variety of different ways for the triplets. So in other words, I'd work on the technical difficulty just right hand alone, so that I can really hear everything and really feel everything. And I would suggest this: staccato underneath. Play the triplets with a finger staccato. Right, now the next thing you could do would be to put the first note of the right hand very quickly together, very close together. See what I'm doing there? And then I could do this. What I'm doing there is combining slow practice with fast playing, because the tempo is slow, but this little cell here is super fast. So that's actually my tempo that I want. So that's a way that you can practice right hand by itself, but having done a little bit of that sort of practice, I'd go back to this just at the end of my practice. Just again find the sound that I'm after. I'm going to look at the first movement of Mozart's K570 Sonata in B flat, and I'm going to show you a very helpful way of practicing, which is miming, or some people call it shadow practice, which is where you play one hand on the surface of the key and play the other hand. Because there's a little difficulty here when we get to the trill bar. Let me just play you the excerpt for a minute. It's just a cadential trill. Now, I can play very happily, or most people could play very happily their left hand here. But as soon as the trill goes in, it's very difficult to keep tabs on what's going on in this hand. We can't really hear the trill and the left hand together and control it together. So a good way of practicing separately is to add the other hand, but don't let it sound. Now let me just show you a slightly slower tempo. And that really enables me to hear super clearly what my left hand's actually doing with both hands being active. You can experiment with this. Be careful if you don't have a soft drop fourboard. This could be dangerous. But you can play the right hand up here. And you could hear then that the end of my trill wasn't accurate. The last part of my left hand. That's better. Just one more idea here before I leave it. What you could do also is to play just the quavers till you get that coordinated. And then if you like, hold down the thumb note. Moving on to a Handel sonata, sonatina actually, in G. I'm going to do some zigzag practice. This is a kind of fun thing to do. Let me play you the excerpt. Now what I'm going to do is to play one bar of the right hand and then immediately follow it with a bar of the left hand. Now I can go back and do that the other way round. See how that works? You can do it in 2-bar chunks. This is a really good technique for keeping your eye on the page. If you're a piano teacher and you've got a student who is starting to look down just that bit too early in the learning process, have them do a bit of this. It works really well. They have to concentrate like crazy and they have to really read. I do describe this in a little bit more detail in the magazine, so do have a look at the article. I hope that's given you a few ideas and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon.